I'm Alan Spears with Occupy Democrats, and U.S. Representative Eric Swalwell from California's 14th District absolutely destroyed the MAGA cult mentality the other day. Now, Swalwell was present at the Judiciary Committee's hearing with Attorney General Merrick Garland the other day, and Swalwell absolutely just skewers and roasts the MAGA mentality and the cult that it frankly is. Now, in the clip I'm about to show you, you're going to see Swalwell absolutely get to the heart of the hypocrisy and insanity that lies at the heart of the MAGA cult. Now, we're all pretty much aware of there being this sort of hypocritical nature deeply embedded into the MAGA Republicans and the MAGA supporters of Donald Trump. However, it can't be understated just how dangerous and destructive this double standard and this hypocrisy and this cognitive dissonance really is. As Swalwell will kind of allude to, these MAGA Republicans that always are so keen on law enforcement supporting and backing the blue, but when that law enforcement goes after their guy, when they have to search Donald Trump's compound, or they have to bring him in, or, for example, when he's convicted for the numerous crimes he committed, they just lose their mind. They can't handle it, and they only want the law on their side. They can't stand it when the law doesn't just blindly follow them. It's pathetic. And like we've recently discussed on this channel, a lot of these far-right Republicans and these MAGA enthusiasts aren't really so enthusiastic behind closed doors. It's not just the Democrats that are sick and tired of hearing about Donald Trump. There's a lot of Republicans up on Capitol Hill that are just as tired as the Democrats of having to deal with Donald Trump and his nonsense, and yet they seem to be bound by the voters' will, by the fact that so many voters do support Donald Trump, at least on the Republican side of things, on the far right side of things. And if these politicians want to maintain their positions of power, if they want to stay in office, they have to cater to the lowest common denominator that is the MAGA cult. These people have the power to stand up and say, no, Donald Trump was found guilty on all 34 counts against him, and he should not be president. He is not mentally or physically fit to serve as the president of the United States. But they don't. Instead, they get behind Donald Trump and they talk about him behind closed doors, but out in public, they pretend to be his friend and his ally, and it's nothing short of cowardice. These far-right Republicans, these MAGA enthusiasts, or even those that are just going along with the narrative to stay in power, they're not looking to the future. They don't care about the long term of this country. They are only thinking about themselves, and I am getting so sick and tired of it. You should be seething and furious at these Republicans who have the gall to stand up there and so often have this holier-than-thou mentality when behind closed doors they are the weakest and most cowardly among us. And that is exactly what Swalwell managed to do at the Judiciary Committee's hearing, as he absolutely skewered this cult-like mentality. Take a look and see for yourself how Swalwell absolutely destroyed the MAGA nation.
Guys, I'm starting to think you're in a cult. That is your right, but it's not your responsibility. I promise you that's not what your constituents would want. So if you believe in states' rights, except when a jury in that state convicts your nominee for president, you might be in a cult. If you claim you back the blue but want to defund the police when the police go to your nominee's house to retrieve national security secrets, you might be in a cult. If you're supporting a guy whose felony convictions prevent him from getting a security clearance, you might be in a cult. And if the guy you're supporting for president has felony convictions that prevent him from going to Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Cambodia, Canada, Chile, China, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Egypt, Ethiopia, Hong Kong,
my motion
India,
takes precedent.
Indonesia, Iran, Ireland, Israel, Japan, Kenya, Macau, Malaysia, Mexico, Morocco, Nepal, New Zealand, Peru, Philippines, Singapore, South Africa, South Korea, Taiwan, Tanzania, Tunisia, Turkey, Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, and the UK.
The gentleman from Kentucky is recognized for 5 minutes. I'm asking the gentleman.
You know, I just gotta say, I absolutely love that there at the end, Swalwell's countries that he was listing off ended up kind of lining up to the beat of Jim Jordan gaveling away. I don't know, there was just something really funny about that. In all seriousness, though, I absolutely love Swalwell's takedown, and he has an excellent point. 37 countries that Donald Trump isn't going to be able to enter. How can the President of the United States possibly have any sort of semblance of good diplomatic ties or potential when he can't even enter 37 different countries? He has almost as many felonies as he has countries he can't visit, and there's just something hilarious about that, if not sad. And seriously, how do these people that support Donald Trump still, to this day, not see how unbelievably dangerous this man is? You know, I kind of had a feeling that the reason that there's no lines in the Constitution stating that a felon cannot be president is because it's so painfully self-evident. It's so obvious. Hot take, I think that if you are or were a convicted felon, you should absolutely not have the power to put your finger on the button or run the United States, the most powerful country on the planet. And you absolutely know that if anyone else, if there was a Democrat, if Joe Biden was running and had 34 guilty verdicts against him and was a convicted felon, the Republicans' brains would melt. They would never go for that. Fox News did a hit piece on President Obama because he had the audacity to wear a tan suit one time, and because of the various condiments he put on his hot dog. I guess it wasn't American enough. People like Jim Jordan, who, by the way, has evaded his subpoena for over 700 days, coward. People like him, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and people like Donald Trump, they will go down in history as these unbelievable destructive forces detrimental to our country, and history will not look kindly at them. Has a convicted felon like Donald Trump, who's ever received power or been in a position of supreme authority, ever had a legacy of good or righteousness? Has history ever looked on people like Donald Trump well? He is a criminal and a con man who is only ever interested in the presidency for his own power and for his own money and ego. So a massive kudos to Swalwell for absolutely roasting the MAGA mentality and calling it out for what it really is, a cult. I hope that more politicians like Swalwell will rise through the ranks and hopefully come into power and turn this country around.